Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Stamp and Chat with Gina K. I am Gina, and I am so excited to have you here tonight. I see people from all over the country and all over the world tuning in for tonight's Stamp and Chat. Well, I saw a comment from my friend Sharon in Cleveland, and I saw that she said she has shingles. I am so sorry you have shingles. Oh my goodness. Shingles are the worst. I had shingles that never erupted. So they didn't believe me that I had shingles, but I found out from another doctor that you can get them and they don't actually erupt. So you just get the nerve pain without the blisters. But both Alicia and Rena had them, and they are terrible. I'll tell you that story later. But anyway, I am really excited to have you guys here. So Tom and I worked a little bit on the front camera, so I hope that you can see everything well. We are working on the sound to try to get the sound a little bit less echoey. My room has really high ceilings. It's got 10-foot ceilings. It's got all hard surfaces, and then it's got hardwood floors, and then this granite countertop. So it echoes off of every surface. So Alicia, my filmmaker daughter, gave us some good ideas about how we can muffle the sound better to make it less echoey. So we're working on that. And then we're also going to be working on our overhead camera this week. So hopefully you'll be able to have a better overhead shot too. That one is still a little tricky, but we are working on it. And we think we can get it as clear as the front shot. So I hope you guys had a great weekend. We had a fun weekend. It was Alicia's birthday and we celebrated. We had Alicia and Rena over and we grilled out and had a great time. Summer is beautiful here in Wisconsin, and I hope you're experiencing a beautiful summer wherever you are. I know some of you are tuning in, and it's winter where you are, but that just means that summer's on its way. So tonight, I thought that I would play with one of the brand new sets. Yeah, I know it's echoey. We're working on that, Amber. So tonight I thought that we would play with one of the new sets that just got released last Wednesday. It is the new set by Lisa Hetrick, and this is the Free to Flourish stamp set. It's probably hard to see because I redid all of my storage and I packed every single set of dies with their coordinating stamp set. So this is the set we're going to use tonight, Free to Flourish. And, but I thought I would do something a little bit different than my traditional stamping on white cardstock. So we're going to do some stamping on Kraft cardstock tonight. And we've done this before, but this time I'm going to stamp on Kraft and then we're going to cut all of the images out and we're going to create a Kraft bouquet. So I'm going to start. Let me get my overhead camera going here. So here's my overhead camera, and I don't know if this one is any clearer than it usually is. It should be because of the way that we're doing the Wi-Fi now. It's completely different, but this one is definitely going to get even clearer. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to freehand stamp with an acrylic block some of these flower images, and then this leaf, these two leaves, and this leaf. And then we're going to do a little bit of coloring using colored pencils. And yes, I see so many of you popping in here, and I would like to welcome you all. It's exciting to have you here. I know it's echoey. I'm sorry about that. It's usually always echoey. The camera should be clear, definitely should be clear. Yeah, the audio, well, let me see, maybe. Yes, you're right, hold on. Is that better? Tell me if that's better. I think I have it figured out now. Okay, so hopefully that's better. Usually I end up getting an echo that tells me I need to do something, but now I think I have figured it out. So sorry about that. Should be much better now. Okay, good. So yeah, I don't have speakers on my computer, this new setup we have. So I don't hear what you guys are hearing, or I would have heard that echoing. And it was my second camera. Thank you, Dawn from W+9, my friend Dawn to the rescue, telling me to mute my second camera. She was right. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this flower using some of the Gina K Designs Black Onyx ink. Yeah, I'm sorry, now the replay is going to be like that. It'd be nice if we could just start over, but you know, it is what it is. So this is the first time I'm actually stamping this stamp set, so hopefully I'll get a nice impression. Ooh, I did. On my live, I showed you guys how I actually prime my stamps when they're more solid style stamps. I like to actually take a stamp like this that's brand new. You can see how crystal clear that is. It hasn't been used yet. And then I'll take it and I'll rub it on my skin. And you see how now it's a little bit more cloudy? That actually makes the ink stick better. So if you have brand new stamps, just try that. And whatever you do, heavens, whatever you do, do not take a nail file or anything to rough up the surface of these stamps. We don't want you to do that. You don't need to do that. Seriously, it's just better to just rub it on your skin. I know that some people do that with stamps that are kind of cheap stamps, and I get that because they're not made of high quality photopolymer. But for these stamps, you do not have to do that. All right, so we'll stamp this one here. Love it. And these are such cute stamps. The stamp set I'm using, if you just joined us, is the Free to Flourish stamp set by Lisa Hetrick. Lisa is one of our illustrators. She's been with us for quite some time now, and she has beautiful stamp sets with Gina K Designs. And her stamps really play off of one another. So if you have one of her sets, you can almost be sure that the next set that she comes out with, you can mix and match those sets with the sets you already have. And I love how sketchy this set is. It's so cool. So I'm just continuing to pick images here and stamp them. And again, this is a brand new set. Hopefully you guys who had bad sound in the beginning didn't leave. It looks like a lot of you are still here. The cardstock that I'm using is the Gina K Designs Kraft cardstock. So I'm just rubbing my skin over this brand new stamp. And that makes it take the ink a little bit better. There we go. Okay. I feel like I might want more leaves, so maybe I'll just add one more leaf here just in case. Oh no, you know what? I'm going to, let me get a different piece of cardstock here. I don't want to get it too close to the other ones where I'm going to die cut it. I'm going to get a longer block for this one. Okay. And then we'll ink that up. Okay. I might use this one. I'm thinking I might use this one, but I'm going to just put it aside for now. Okay. So now I have some images stamped. We can always go back and stamp some more and cut some more once we figure out what we're going to do with this. But my goal is to not have the harsh white cardstock that we normally have and just kind of go with something a lot softer. So I'm going to start with a white pencil. And we've done this before with white. And you can see how sharp that point is. And I do have my pencil sharpener here. This is the iPoint Orbit pencil sharpener. This is the battery operated one, but they also make one that is electric. I have them both and I love them both, but this one is great for traveling, and I take this with me when I go camping so I can color outside and always have a nice sharp pencil. The other thing I like about it is it really sharpens these Prismacolor pencils well without breaking the point. And the sharper the point, the better you're going to be able to color, especially in between these lines and not color over them. So you still have that nice stark black color. So you can see how pretty coloring on Kraft cardstock can look. And it's something that we forget to do. We're constantly choosing white or ivory. And I do love ivory cardstock too. I know I don't use that quite as much, but I like ivory, especially when I'm working with warm tones. But coloring on Kraft is so fun, especially when you're coloring flowers that need white petals, like a daisy, or, you know, if you wanted to color in maybe a line art snowflake. It's fun because obviously, you know, the white pencil looks so good on the Kraft cardstock. But I know that the sound is still a little echoey, and we are going to be working on that. All right, so my story, my Stampin' Chat story about my girls having shingles. You know, shingles is kind of known to be a something that you get when you get a little bit older, right? It's not, and it's usually you have to have had chickenpox first in order to get shingles. Not always, I understand, but that's kind of the rule of thumb. Okay, now I'm going to put a little bit of yellow in the center on that daisy. Well, Rena was about maybe 11 or 12 years old. No, she was younger than that. She was probably like 10 years old. And the reason why I remember her being so young is because I had bought her a training bra. Now, I just have to stop for a minute. I don't know why, as women, we think we need to train them. They know what to do, even if you don't train them, but there's something about the cute little training bras in pink with the little bow that, as moms, we just like to get them for our kids. So we tell our kids, well, you really need it. It's a training bra. So anyway, I got her a training bra, and I think I'm going to do some turquoise with this one. Let's see. I want to see if I have two colors that might work well together. Okay, I'm going to try this dark one first. So I got her this bra, and I remember I went into her room. She was getting ready for bed, and the bra was sitting on the thing, and I said, "How do you like it?" And she goes, "I don't like it at all, Mom. It really hurts." I'm like, "Oh, that's not good." And she said, "Yeah, I don't know what it's doing to me. It's like cutting me in the side here." And so she kind of lifted up her pajamas off to the side, and I saw that she had shingles. So it wasn't the training bra. It was actually the shingles that were hurting her so much. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just using the dark color, and then I'm going to a lighter color, and then I'm going to go to a real light color. And since I don't know how to do this, I'm just trying my best here, and I think we're going to go with it. I'm just doing like little circular motions, and then I'm just kind of bringing this color in real light-handed, trying to blend without Gamsol. I did try to use a little Gamsol on the Kraft cardstock, but the color got so thin you couldn't really see it. So I decided to give this a try live. So anyway, I took her to the doctor because I just knew it was shingles. I remember my mom had shingles, and I remember what they looked like. And the doctor was just kind of floored that somebody so young ended up having shingles. And she did have chickenpox when she was a baby. So they gave her the shingles medicine, and they went away, you know, fairly quickly. And then Alicia was away at boarding school. She was 16. And Alicia went to a boarding school. She wasn't a bad kid. I didn't send her away to boarding school. She went to Interlochen Arts Academy for high school. It was a fantastic place up in on the west coast of Michigan, up north, and it's just beautiful. It's right near Traverse City. So she called me from her dorm room one night and said, "Mom, I don't know what is wrong with my side, but it hurts so much." And I was thinking, oh my goodness, it's your appendix. And she's like, no, it's not that kind of pain. It's like my skin hurts. And I said, do you have any marks? And she said, I have just a couple little dots. And I said, go right down to the nurse's office and tell them you think you have shingles, because the earlier they catch it, the better. And she went down to the nurse's office and she had shingles. So both of my girls had shingles when they were young. So it can happen to young kids too. It's just crazy. Well, I hope that you guys all have had a lovely start to your summer. I know that things are opening back up and people are getting out and about. And we went camping. And that's a great thing to do if you're still trying to social distance, because you can camp and you can be away from home and doing other things and you're still alone. So we went camping. It was very, very nice. We went up to Door County, Wisconsin. If you've never been to Door County, Wisconsin, I highly recommend you putting it on your bucket list. The water up in Door County, especially the further north you go, even if you go like further north up to the UP, which is not Wisconsin, but I like to pretend it is because it's so beautiful. It's actually Michigan. So you guys can see the way I'm coloring that, right? Just adding layers. I'm not worrying too much about what I'm doing, but it's looking good so far. It's good enough, right? Good enough for card making. So if you go up, way up north to the UP, and that's actually where Alicia had her high school trip, because they were in northern Michigan. I'm gonna start cheating and just do a little bit more of the dark stuff on more of the petals first. The good thing about colored pencils is they don't dry. Like there's no like time period where you need to like get blending, like with watercolor, you know, how things start to set and then it's harder to blend. You don't? Well, I don't either, because I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to watercolor, which is why I use Gamsol and colored pencils. But anyway, so if you get like really far up into the UP, the lake looks like the Caribbean. It is seriously like this color blue. It is beautiful up there. So if you can get that on your bucket list and make a trip to Wisconsin, see Door County, and then maybe go up to the UP, Michigan. That's really cool. Mackinac Island, that's the bucket list place, Mackinac. And it's very cool up there because on that island, they don't allow cars. So you can take a bike, or, you know, you can walk, you can, you know, do things like that, but you can't have your car. So Tom and I, that's on our bucket list, to go up to the UP and see Mackinac Island and ride our bikes around the island. That's something we definitely want to do. I'm so bad at this, I don't even know where I just left off. I looked away to look at my colored pencils, and now I don't know where I left off. So I'm going to keep going. I think this blending colored pencils this way on Kraft cardstock, I mean, I know this isn't like spectacular blending or anything. Like if you go and check out Dawn from W+9, her company, she's got beautiful stamps, but the way she colors, oh my goodness. Just don't do that right now and come back here, because then you'll just leave. Do that later. But for somebody that's not very much an artist and, you know, relies on things like Gamsol for my blending, I think colored pencils on Kraft cardstock feel like they blend a little bit easier to me. I don't know, maybe it's just that lack of, you know, the stark white cardstock behind it. You don't see the seams as much. I hope you guys are laughing with me, because I love to laugh at my my tries, my trying. But I think the white, not the white, but this is not white. This is called Sky Blue Light, which is odd. I would have called it light sky blue, but Sky Blue Light. Then again, don't go by me, because I've named pretty much all of my colors after food. So, you know, but that really on the edge really just makes everything kind of pop, don't you think? Yeah. So I'm just gonna like check here and see if you guys are like swearing at me or anything. Yes, these are Prismacolor pencils. And the colors I'm using, the darkest one is the Aquamarine. The middle one is light aqua, and then the lightest one is sky blue aqua. And this Monday Night Live is just a more relaxed version. I do have a quote for you tonight. I've been thinking a lot about a lot of things. I've been on the internet a lot, and I know you guys have been too. And you've been seeing people arguing and fighting about different things. And pretty much, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, and there's a lot to fight for. There really is. But I have a little quote for you at the end of my live tonight that I hope resonates, and I hope you'll just give it a little bit of thought as you get out there and peruse the internet and you see things that might, I don't know, sometimes we see things, I know I do, and they ruffle my feathers, and I start typing. And it's very easy to type. It really is. It's a lot easier to type than it is to say things right to people. And you forget, you know, that there's people on the other end that are receiving the information. So I have a quote for you, and it's actually not a quote by somebody else. It's a quote by me. So I will give that to you at the end. So now let's see. I've only been doing this for 20 minutes, but I think it's kind of long, okay, right? We're getting there. Yes, this stamp set, if you're just joining us, is the brand new stamp set by Lisa Hetrick, and it's called Free to Flourish. And I really like this flower. It's just like a big, fat kind of flower. It's got lots of room on the petals to color. I like that, you know, big open petals to blend on. And again, you know, the screen, the live video isn't always optimal, but I always take pictures of my cards and I post them over in our Facebook group. And if you're new and you haven't tried our Facebook group, it's called Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. Stamp TV Friends came from my old website. When I first started in this industry, right after I finished being a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and started my own company, I actually decided that I wanted to do YouTube videos, but YouTube wasn't a thing. There wasn't YouTube when I started doing videos. That's how long I've been doing videos. Isn't that scary? I started doing videos when it was called Google Video. And then that ultimately became YouTube. But I wanted to do the first, I had to sharpen that. I wanted to do a 2-camera shoot style video. So Tom and I went to a company in Madison, Wisconsin, and they're a pretty big company nationally. They're called Full Compass Systems. And they actually did a lot back then with the president and things like that. They would go and set up all the audio and video for very, very big events. And we went there and they helped us. We bought 2 big broadcast quality cameras, the kind that you see like newscasters carrying around on their shoulder, like the real big ones. That's what they were back then. That's what you needed in order to have a good quality video, because there wasn't HD yet. And I decided to call my channel Stamp TV. I feel like the center needs orange. Don't you feel like it needs orange? I hope you do, because I feel like this flower, orange, would be such a nice contrast. And that's where the name Stamp TV came from. That was my first, my YouTube channel. I have since renamed it to Gina K Designs, but if you go on YouTube and you search Stamp TV, it will still come up. Okay, so there I colored that blue flower. It was very fun. I see some of you saying, yeah, I've had my feathers ruffled lately. Yes, yes, we all have. It is the time for ruffled feathers. Okay, so I'm going to just add a little bit of green here. I think ooh, that's pretty. I'm using these really light, bright, fun colors because I want them to stand out. This is called light green. Okay, light green. And then I want to go just a hair darker, but I don't know what'll mix with that. We'll try this. And that doesn't mix very well. It might though. Let's see what happens. That's not bad. I like that. We'll go with that. So we get a little yellow in there. I'll kind of lightly go over the other part too to try to make it blend more. My sweet friend Kathy Rakusin, who is another coloring guru, when she does her coloring road trips and teaches live classes, she lets people pick 2 colors of her Copic markers because she says that it doesn't matter what the colors are, you can always get them to blend. And I don't know, that woman is magic because I think somebody, when she was teaching at our store, somebody like picked purple and yellow, and we all know that's going to make brown, right? And somehow Kathy made those colors blend and they looked just beautiful. So I felt like I needed to keep going with this in honor of Kathy. So it's not bad. It's a little funky, but I like it. All right, so I think I need to stay within those colors. So maybe I will try a little bit of, we'll just start down here. Now this leaf doesn't have quite as much detail in it, but that's all right because we don't need a lot of detail. We just need color. Yeah, I would not have this kind of luck blending if it wasn't on the Kraft. You have to try this. Get some Kraft cardstock and just play with colors because they're so glowy and they're just fun. There we go. So if you hear anything weird, I think my neighbors across the street just set off some fireworks. I don't know why. I hope that's what it is. All right. Oh, I like this. I like this color combination now. It's kind of growing on me. I'm just kind of doing some streaks in there. So let me see if I have like a darker pencil here. Maybe if I can just kind of add a little detail in there like that. Oh, that nice sharp pencil. That's fun. Okay, so there we go. Now I'm trying to think of how I want to lay this out. I might want to stamp one more white flower. And you know, we can add another color in there. It doesn't have to be like all stark white. We could add just a little bit of this same blue. Just kind of close up here just to change it up a little bit. Might make it look a little more glowy like the other one. That's kind of fun. You know, I know a lot of times it's scary to just try something, but you got to think about like what it is. I mean, it's just a piece of cardstock. So like the worst thing that can happen is you restamp that little image and you color it again. All right, I'm gonna stamp. Lisa also has in this set just a plain flower top, and I might do this one just so I can kind of, well, maybe I'll do the other one again. I'll do the other one again because this way, if I don't want the stem, I can always cut the stem off. But if I need it, then I have it, and that's a good plan. Because when you go in and you don't know what you're doing, then, you know, I don't have a plan is what I'm saying. Now for the greeting for this set, I'm going to use our new incentive. And I didn't get to show you this new incentive set because I didn't have one the night of the release party, but this is the new incentive set. This is called Hearty Greetings. Like not like hearty, like hearts, hearty greetings. And I love these. Love you with all my heart. Miss you so much. This is such a useful greeting right now. And you are my happy place. Plus, I love this little arrow. I think that's really cute. You could even stamp that on the outside of your card like that so that, you know, more inside. Or if you're writing on the inside, I don't know, I've done this so many times. I write, you know, I'm writing real big and all of a sudden I realize I'm running out of room and my writing gets smaller and smaller. Instead, you could just put the little arrow there and then they'll know to flip the card over and that you wrote some on the back. So this is a fun set. I love it. So I'm going to color this one the same way. Oh, there's so many colors that look so good on Kraft. The pinks. I have some light pinks in my little collection here. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I think some of you probably know this. Let me go onto my front camera. I don't know where my mouse went. Let's see, there it is. Okay, so this is about all the pencils I have right now. My other ones are in our little RV, my big set. And so this is what I've been using to color. So you don't need a ton. If you don't have a ton of colored pencils, don't worry about it. You know, you can just have a select few colors and you'll be fine. Actually, at one point early in my career, I wrote for a blog that was like a blog craft magazine. And I did a comparison, which I generally don't like to do comparisons because I find good in a lot of things. So just because they're not the same doesn't mean that they're both not good in their own ways. So I did this comparison tutorial for the magazine using Prismacolor pencils and then also using Crayola pencils. And I was able to get the Crayola pencils to look very, very similar to the Prismacolor pencils as far as blending with Gamsol and stuff. So if you're new and if you're really on a strict budget and you're thinking, oh, I would love to have some colored pencils. Now, I know artists will tell you, buy the best material, buy the best tools that you can find because, you know, you're never going to learn how to use the high quality tools if you're using the cheap tools. Now, that being said, you know, you can't, if you don't have the money to get them, you don't have the money to get them. So if you get Crayola and, oh, that one should be yellow. If you get Crayola, you can still do the Gamsol technique. So I just want you to know that you don't have to sit and just watch because you don't have the money to buy the new pencils. And Crayola pencils aren't going to break the bank so that you feel like guilty if you bought them and you used them for 6 months and then somebody gave you a Christmas present or a birthday present and, you know, you were able to buy the better ones. I mean, the whole box of pencils is probably just a few dollars. So you can do it. I'm going to add a little bit of this onto the top of each of these just to make it glow. I still don't know if I'm using this yet, but I want to have it ready in case. And if I don't use it, I'll use it for something else later. Here we go. Okay, so now I've got some images here that I am going to cut out. I'm going to cut these out. So the Free to Flourish stamp set does have a complete die set. And if you've never seen Gina K Designs dies, all of our dies come on a magnetic board. And it's a thick board. I don't know if you can see how thick that is. You see, that's a really thick board. It's like chipboard. And then it's got a very powerful magnet on it. So when you turn it upside down and you shake it, the dies do not come off. The other thing about our dies is they're already detabbed. meaning you don't have to cut them apart. This is exactly how you get them. They're ready to go. And because we have them detabbed, they do a really good job of cutting down into the metal to remove the tabs so that there's no sharp edges. So I like that because I'm constantly cutting myself on dies that I detab myself. So that's just a little thing about our dies. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Spellbinders machine. This is the Platinum machine. I also use the Gemini for my electronic machine, but this is the one that I'm going to use in the video tonight. I'm not going to, it doesn't fit underneath my camera, so I usually give you my front shot. Here's my plates. And then what I like to do, and I've showed you this before, but if you're new, you may find this interesting. I'm going to take some Peach Bellini cardstock pieces that I have left over here. I like using our mid-weight cardstock. It's not quite as heavy as our heavy base weight for this, and it allows the die to sink down into it. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I will be showing you that in just a second. So I've got some scrap pieces of Peach Bellini here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the flower die and I'm going to cut it out of Peach Bellini. So let me do that. And then I'm going to take this double leaf die. That's the one with the 2 leaves that matches this image here. And I'm going to cut that out on the top of this piece of Peach Bellini. Just by itself. I'm not stamping a flower. I'm not stamping leaves. I'm just cutting it out. I can see you guys. You know what's fun is to glance at the comments and see you guys kind of talking to each other too. I feel like a lot of us have become friends here, and that just makes me happy. Okay, so I've cut those out and I'm not doing anything with them. I'm just going to put them aside for now. This template I'm going to cut in half. So I'm going to grab my Brutus Monroe scissors. These are great scissors. Head over to Brutus Monroe and pick up a pair of these. They're really good. Really nice for cutting paper. And one thing that's really cool, let me go to my overhead shot so I can show you this. And I've showed this before, but I know I have new people each time, and I definitely want to show you this if you haven't seen it, maybe even forgot. So Brutus Monroe scissors have this little top piece that's nice because you can hang it on a hook. But you can pull this off. Now let me see if I can do it here. So you can pull that off. And the pair of scissors that I got, and I don't know if he still does them this way or if he sells the cap separately, also had a red cap. And you can put the red cap in, and you can have 2 pairs of his scissors, and one can be for sticky, gooey stuff. Maybe that's the white cap. And then the red cap is your good scissors that you only use for paper piecing or for cutting ribbon. So I think that's pretty cool that this just pops right out, and you can change the cap. I love that. So I had to show you that. Okay. So while I have you in this position here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the spot. There we go. And I like to do this because I like an even edge around my die cut pieces. I like that, in this case, the Kraft edge, or if I'm using white cardstock, and you can really see it with white cardstock, I like the edge to be as even as possible. So by using this little template that I made, I can take a piece of purple tape and I can tape this down. Now I'm not right over it because my camera's in the way of my head, my overhead camera, but I'm going to get that pretty close here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just tape that down onto the cardstock, tape it down over here as well. Then, pardon me, on my, I'm going to put the die into the hole and it's going to snap into place. And that's where I'm going to cut. And I know that it's going to cut in the same spot that I can see it when I have the little template over it. And now I'm going to take that and I'm going to cut that out. So we'll go back over to, my mouse seems to quiet down here. Oh, the worst thing in the world would be if my battery died on my mouse. Wouldn't that be atrocious and you were stuck just looking at nothing. So now I'm going to cut this out. And hopefully that didn't shift, because I usually do that laying right on the die cutting machine, so I don't have to touch it at all. But that's pretty close there. Let me see if I can go back to this overhead shot. So that's pretty close. That gives me a nice edge around there. And I just love the way that looks on the Kraft. Isn't that cool? So, okay, so I'm going to, yes, there are great deals out there on Prismacolor pencils. I see you guys all talking to each other about that. There's certainly great deals on colored pencils. But if you like, you know, if the deal is you've got $6 to spend, and I've had that, I've been in that position, you can still make pretty cards with Prismacolor, Crayola pencils if you have to. Remember, card making is meant to be fun and just an enjoyable activity. You don't feel like you have to compete with professionals in the industry. They are, it's great. Our professional designers and artists, they're wonderful and they inspire us to become better. But everybody starts somewhere. So, okay, so now I'm going to take this die and I'm going to snap it into place. I've done the same layout. And then I'm going to cut. I know you can't see me doing that. You're just looking at me, but really it's a better view than just my hands spinning around under the camera. Yeah, the template idea really has helped me. It's taking my die cutting to a new level. Okay, so now you can see that's perfect. Let me go overhead here. There we go. So you can see that really cut nicely. It's so pretty together. Love it. Love it, love it. Yes, if I see everybody talking about Brutus Monroe. Yes, the scissors. That's where I got the scissors, Brutus Monroe. Okay, so now I'm going to take these pieces of purple tape off, and I just keep using the same pieces over and over again until they just get, you know, they kind of lose their stick. Okay, so now I need to make more templates because I need to make a template for this and I need to make a template for these two. And luckily I can use that template twice. So I am going to do that now. Let's see if I can come back over here. And again, I like the Peach Bellini cardstock for this, or even the Sandy Beach. Look for some of our mid-weight cardstocks. They're a little bit lighter than the heavy base weight, and that just makes it easier for the die to sink down in there and touch the paper. So I'm going to make one with that. I can make all of these, I think, out of this piece. So I've got 2 leaves and a flower to make. Okay. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see our new kit, but we have a new stencil in that kit that I just love. It's called Ornamental Fan, and I might use that tonight in this project. We'll see. Okay, so I'm going to cut these. I think I'll just stick with the overhead for a little bit here. I'm going to cut these. And again, like, you can cut it like on an angle, it doesn't matter, so you can get the most out. And if you keep these little pieces, you can put them into your MISTI and line your stamp up on there and stamp them. And then you can try coloring on the Peach Bellini and see how that looks. So there's never really waste unless you just don't like it. Okay, so I'll put this here. Take that down. I really should be doing this on, let me do this on the machine so I don't have to lift it up, because that is where my big stress ball comes in. Trying to lift it up. Okay, so I got that. And then I'm gonna cut it, put the die back. I'm going to cut it with the die, and then I'm going to snip it because I want it to be shorter, because I want it to stick out from underneath the flower. So I'm going to use my Brutus Monroe scissors for that and just snip the end of the stem off. Yes. I'm going to snip this. And I know that that looks a little bit pointy, but I'll show you what I did because I just snipped it down because I really want this to kind of come up out of here. And then kind of have this coming out of here. I love that little extra shoot there. Just love that. So I'm kind of doing my layout as I go, deciding what I want it to look like. And now I'm going to cut out these 2 leaves, and I think I might be able to do them at the same time. We'll see how no, I'm not going to be able to do them one at a time. So I know you guys are looking at the overhead, but this way if somebody comes on, they can hear me talk and they can see what I'm doing, and they just don't have to look at the top of my undyed hair, my roots. You would think, actually I did do a home touch-up, but for those of you that didn't know, Rena is in beauty school, and I am so beyond excited because I am going to be one of her first customers. Here's one. We cut the other one out now. And I went to beauty school, so I am just really jazzed about it. I went to beauty school many moons ago and became a hairdresser who never did hair. I ended up just doing nails. I wasn't comfortable doing hair as much as I was doing nails. Nails seemed more my style. And Rena is so good at hair, so I'm really excited about that because she can do these old roots and cut these dead ends. I cannot wait until she's ready for that. Okay, so there's another one. Oh, this is looking good. So let me cut that last one of these out because I feel like I want to use it somewhere. This might go a little over tonight. Maybe not. We'll see. Once all this is cut out, then, you know, then it's easy. I'll use that same template from before and just slap it right on there. All right. There we go. Last one through. And while I'm up here, I'm going to cut an oval out because I'm going to mount all of this on an oval. Wait a minute, I've got too many things here. Too much tape. It's everywhere. Purple tape is stuck to me. I'm living that purple tape life. Purple tape is the greatest invention ever. I was so excited. And their new purple tape is, I think it's even better. It's less tacky, never tears the paper, and you can use it for masking and stuff, like masking edges without kind of tapping it on your clothes first. I love that. Okay. So we've got this one. And I'm going to cut out one. I've got a piece of white cardstock here. I'll put those aside. And then I have this large oval. And I cut that with our single stitched ovals dies, which are these dies right here. And I'm going to cut a white one out of the double stitch dies because these double stitch dies are 1/8 of an inch smaller than the single stitch dies, so I can get a nice little shadow edge. I definitely want some white contrast in here with all this beautiful craft. All right. I may not need to have gone this big. Excuse my hand spinning around. It's like a roller coaster ride. Okay. So there is the other oval, and that just mounts on there and you get that nice little layered look. Okay, let me get the die cutting machine out of the way, and then I have my kit here. So I'm going to open this kit and try not to set my cardstock on fire because I have a little candle burning here. I love to have a candle burning when I'm crafting. So this is the new ornamental fan stencil. So I'm going to open this up here. Let me just see if any of you are asking me any questions. Nope, I don't think so. Okay. There we go. So that's the new stencil. Let me move these pieces out of the way. Now I'm going to take a piece of Kraft cardstock. I do have a couple extra sheets here. And I'm going to grab my small paper cutter. And this is the We Are Memory Keepers paper cutter. I'm going to cut this down to 3 3/4 inches. This is what our new dies, our new master layouts cut out, but they are out of stock, and I'm not going to torment anybody by using it tonight. But that will cut the perfect layers. It will cut this piece, and it will cut the layered piece that goes behind it, so you get that perfect little edge. But I can't get it unless I use the dies, so I always have to cut a little bit off the bottom for some reason. I don't know why, but I always have to. Okay, so we're going to use this ornamental fan stencil. We could emboss it, which would be very cool, but I think I'm going to just do a little ink blending over it tonight. And we'll play with embossing either on Wednesday or, let me see here. Let me just check. Yeah, I like to just check in on your conversations once in a while to see, make sure that you guys aren't like, we can't see or the camera went out. So I'm using one of the Picket Fence Studios life-changing brushes, and I'm going to use some warm cocoa ink on the Kraft cardstock. Now you can use Kraft ink, but honestly, the color matches so well that it really disappears. I mean, it's so hard to see. So I'm going to just use this, and I'm going to use a really light hand, really light-handed. You can see I just put it on with purple tape on the back. This is a cool stencil. Oh yeah, that's pretty. See, it's delicate, and right now it's even darker than it's going to be because all of our inks, once they dry like almost like they're airbrushed and much softer than the original color. They match our cardstock really nicely. So if you stamp something and you say, oh, that color is much darker than the cardstock, just give it a little bit of time to dry, and once it dries, you'll have a really nice match. Okay, so now I'm going to put this onto this, and I'm going to use some of our tape. You can also use Connect glue for your layers. And the thing about the Connect glue, I read in our forum all the time if somebody says, oh, I'm having a problem. If you get warping, it's because you're just using too much. You don't need to use very much Connect glue to get a super nice adhesion. I'm going to move that down just a bit. I have to get right over the top camera here. Okay. And then I'm going to trim off this little hair that I always have to trim off to make it look better. There we go. But you don't have to do that if you got our master layouts dies. Now, I know a lot of you tried and we had website problems, and I'm really so sorry about that. But I do want you to know that they are in the middle of manufacturing those, and they're going to be shipping out to us really soon, and we ordered a ton more. So if you didn't get them, I promise, not even using them until the next batch comes in so that everybody who wants them can get them. So I'm going to mount that onto this white card base. There we go. I know I see a lot of you that your orders have shipped already, and that is pretty cool. That's very fast. Okay, so now I'm going to layer these two together. Get that out of there. And ta-da. Okay. So now I'm going to use my Misty for this, I think, because this is a brand new stamp set. And if I want to stamp it a second time, I can. This is the wreath builder in here. Let me remove that. I am not going to be building a wreath right now, but I was playing with wreaths earlier today. Okay, so I'm going to flip this over. Now, if you've never seen what I do, I take a piece of purple tape and I just make a loop out of it, like a chain kind of thing. loop. And I put that on the bottom of my Misty. And then I use the Misty mouse pad, and this is a separate purchase. I like it because you can really get ink all over this. Like you can see I have ink on here, and you can take a little bit of stamp cleaner. This is the Gina K Design stamp cleaner. This will get any kind of ink off, like stays on, will get it off. And it'll take it right off. This is like, I know some people have laminated a piece of the Misty paper, but I really like doing this because I've got both sides. This is ready to go at any time, and then this is ready to go at any time when I'm wreath building, because I like the darker cards. I like the darker mat when I'm wreath building, because the wreath builder is a white template. And so, you know, you've got that if you're using it this way, you can't see it as well, but if you're using it this way, it's a nice stark contrast. But when I'm stamping regular images, I like using the Misty mouse pad. So I'm going to put that in, and then I'm going to press down on that purple tape. Now the mat's not going to shift around, because sometimes the mat shifts and you think you're spot on, and you are spot on, but the mat moved and it took your cardstock with it. So then you have trouble. So let's see, I'm going to tape this right to the mat, and that's another thing you can tape and just rub the tape right off. So I'm going to do that because I don't want it to move. And now we're going to decide which stamp we're going to use from that new stamp set. And I have made such a mess that I don't even know where that stamp set got to. So give me a minute to find it. Here it is. So brand new here, Hearty Greetings. Now this stamp set is yours free with any $75 purchase. So for those of you who are waiting for your orders to come, if you spent over $75 or over, this automatically ships. So I feel like if I do that right up here, Miss You, then I can kind of drape these flowers around. I kind of want that like that. And then I can have the leaves like that. And do a couple leaves kind of cascading down here. You get my drift there? All right, that's what we're going to do. Okay, now you guys have to remind me where everything was. Actually, what I usually do, I can't right now because I'm using it for recording, but what I usually do is I lay it out, I snap a picture on my cell phone. Then I can pull everything off and I can just look at the picture on my cell phone, and that makes it very, very easy. Okay, so we'll put that there. It really doesn't matter if it's a little off center because things are going to be kind of cascading up. So the only thing I want to make sure that is straight is the words "so much," because they are in an actual like a typeface, not like a scripty hand lettered thing. So I think that's pretty close. All right, so we'll pick that up, and then I'm going to take my arm, I'm going to rub my hand all over that just to make it easier to stamp. And this is kind of a big stamp, so I will use my black Onyx ink pad for this. And hopefully I get a good impression the first time. We'll see. Fingers crossed. Okay, so I'm going to put that down, and then what I like to do is take a piece of paper towel and just rub, because it slides over the glass, not the glass, the acrylic. Here we go. Now, I'm going to add one more layer, because this is a new stamp. Everything is where it should be. There we go. Okay. This is a good one. This Miss You So Much, because we're not able to see so many of the people we want to see right now. And these are good kinds of cards to send out. Okay. So I know it's 1 minute to 8, but I am almost done. And then I will give you my final quote for the night. Okay. So this is going to go just right in the center, like that. So I'll tape that down first. Sometimes it's fun just to take your time, and you don't need to make 100 cards to feel good. You just need to enjoy the moment of making one. Actually, I'm going to just move this up a little bit because I just remembered that the flowers are going to cascade down. So I want to give them room to do that. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I think what I did was I had like something here and then something over here. We'll do that. And then this big flower here. You can have this one a little closer. That one can come out more. And then this here. And then these we can have coming down like out from under here. Like that. Okay, that's going to be my layout. Love it. So you have options. I am running low on my foam squares. Oh, no, not here they are. Thought I was. I actually found some that I had already cut apart from class. So I will grab a few of those. A lot of times when we get the excess off there. A lot of times when we teach classes, we just pre-cut them and throw them into the class kit. So these two flowers I'm going to tape directly down onto the card. So I'll do this one first. We'll go right there. And this one will go right there. Maybe I'll bring that one up more. There. Yeah, I'll overlap them a little bit. I always like putting flowers like coming off the shape. I try not to stick everything like right inside the oval or the circle that I'm working on. Okay, I think I'm going to move this. I like the branches, the stems to kind of look closer together. That's the last thing that's going to go on. So you can find the right position for it too that you like, what's most eye appealing. This one I'm going to stick right in here. And then these, one at a time, I'm going to stick out from down here. And then that will go on with foam squares. So we'll pop this one up. We'll put a couple of foam squares on here. 3 should do it. Okay. I know there's a lot of comments. And I haven't scanned for a while. I don't know why I keep cutting my nails. I really want to grow them, but then they get a little bit long and they bug me. And I cut them off. It's because I need Rena. I need her to do my nails. Okay. So there we go. There's my finished card. Love it. I love these flowers. They're so pretty and so whimsical. All right. Oh, and I'm so glad to see so many of your orders shipped already. Yes. That's awesome. Yes, the incentive will be available until our next release. So, you know, you've got time, but once our next release comes at the end of or late July, mid to late July, it really depends on manufacturing because manufacturers are slow to get back at it. But once they do, you know, that's our plan anyway, mid-July. And once the next release comes, then we change the incentive, and this incentive goes into our regular inventory. So there is my finished card. And you can see this warm cocoa is really lightened up in the background. So it's not quite as harsh as it originally was. So thank you guys so much. This has been so much fun. I don't know if this camera is better or not. No, I think it's a little bit washed out. So, but I will be taking a picture of this and I'll be posting it in our Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends groups. So make sure you jump in there and join the group. It's a private group. It's a really, really super supportive group. And from beginners to advanced, we love to see all of your projects, and you'll get lots of love in there for sharing. Somebody just asked how Teddy is. Teddy's doing great. She went camping with us, and she's doing great, living every day in the moment, and we are doing that with her as well. All right, you guys, well, it's already 5 after, so I want to finish tonight with a quote. And like I said, I've been, kind of perusing the internet, reading a lot of Facebook comments, and kind of seeing, people just really go after each other. And so this is not a political statement, because it doesn't really matter. This statement doesn't really have any effect on which side you fall on. But if you think about this and think about it for yourself and how it feels when somebody's coming after you, maybe we can talk to each other in a kinder way. So my quote for tonight is, "One thing I know for sure, you'll never change someone's mind by making them feel awful." Thank you guys so much for being with me tonight. I absolutely love you all. It's so wonderful to see you, and I appreciate you giving up some of your time to spend it with me. I'll be back on Wednesday night with Wednesday Whimsical Wednesday. I don't know, I changed it on the banner. So whatever that says, I'll be back on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock to stamp and chat with you. Thank you guys so much. Have a great next couple of days. Stay safe, be well, and I'll see you again soon.